Saturday, August 13th at Northfield Park is Carl Milstein Memorial Night. It's a great card of action with lots of guaranteed wagers. And, who can't be more excited to be there than the man who will be sitting at the top of that track, Matt Rose.
Yeah, thank you for that lovely introduction. This will be my third Milstein already since coming out here. Always a fun night, always a big crowd. It's always fun to see, you know, the apron packed with people and rooting and cheering. But yeah, solid 16 race card that kicks off at 6 o'clock. The guaranteed all stakes, $20,000 all stakes guaranteed pick five kicks off in race six, and that's what we're going to focus in on here.
No doubt about it. We're going to talk about this sequence. And of course, if you want to follow along, you'll be able to go onto drf.com/harness, get free harness IPPs for the card. The sixth race is a $55,000 Ohio Sire Stakes event. And I think we're on opposite ends of the spectrum here. To me, I look at this race and I see Gabby's Bitcoin on the far outside, as clearly the horse to beat. I mean, and if I'm sure you saw these races. I know you like to watch all these replays, but the race last time at Scioto where Gabby's Bitcoin made a break out of the pocket, it really came down to he was getting ready to accelerate and he just accelerated a little too fast and made a quick jump. So I just completely tossed that out. I think Gabby's Bitcoin is probably going down the road here. I could see, other horses having a shot. I used long shot on my ticket mainly because, you know what, Gabby's Bitcoin does it the 8-hole. It is a half-mile track, but I think long shot's pretty versatile and has a chance. I see that the morning line favorite is Chulo from the inside, and I think that's where you went.
Yeah, I'm actually. We actually completely disagree. Not that I disagree with your selections, but I'm going to take a stab and I'm going to key Chulo in the first leg. And I know there's some issues with this horse. I know that he raced twice at Northfield as a 2-year-old and broke both times. Yannick Gingras was on the bike those two nights. But, it's a year later and he's going to be, he's a year older, a year wiser, more mature. And, just the competition he's been facing. And you look back a few lines on the program and he was a super winner in an Ohio Sire Stakes event down at Scioto. I think it just comes down to minding his manners, getting around that first turn, and I think he could take control of this race at some point, while others will be forced to tuck or take back. And I think if he can just get away cleanly and be able to maybe make a move to the front or retake or whatever with the Hall of Famer Dave Miller, I think he'll be a safe winner. And he's going to be my key in the sequence. And those who play pick fives at Northfield, it's $1 minimum. So it can get pretty pricey if you're spreading around. I think you have to have a key somewhere. And me just looking at the sequence, I thought he was the safest key in my sequence. So I just have to take a stab, and it's the first leg. Maybe my misery will be over quickly, but I think he's capable, and I'm just hoping he navigates the track this time around.
So Matt's going Chulo, I'm going long shot, and Gabby's Bitcoin as my top pick. And we're going to move on to race number 7. It's another Ohio Sire Stakes, also for $55,000. And in this field, I think we see it basically the same. Rose Run Extra and Guido D basically look like speed horses who are going to sit 1-2 in here. And Caviar Gold clearly has the talent. He's the point leader right now. Though I would worry a little bit whether Caviar Gold is going to be, going all out here as the point leader, in a spot where he's shown some breaks before and it's a half-mile track.
Well, I don't know. Has Aaron Merriman ever not gone all out ever? We can make that argument. Unfortunately, it's another Chris Beaver trotter, and he shows up. He shows up to play every year in and year out with the Ohio Breds, and it's another Chris Beaver trotter with Aaron Merriman that's stuck in the 8-hole. And yeah, this guy is talented, but we do have some legit stock inside of him. We both pretty much went with the 3 favorites here, 1, 3, and 8. Rose Run Extra, Chris Page for Ron Burke. Guido D, I believe, with you could say lesser known connections. Brady Brown and Steve Schoeffel are the driver and trainer, uh, but he's right there every week with these horses, and he's won a few legs, so clearly Brady knows how to drive this horse, and he's another one to be forwardly placed. But I think we have the right three horses here with the 1, 3, and 8. I think there are other horses will have to step it up, or something would have to go wrong with one of those three horses, to not get by this leg.
I agree completely. 1, 3, and 8 for me in race 7, and we're going to move on to race number 8. It's the $100,000 Tom Aldrich President's Trot. And here we're going to be a little bit different in how we see the race, though. My top pick is Herculesa. I feel like she's 5 for 5 over this track. She won here 2 back in the Open with Brett Miller driving. Brett Miller's back in the bike here. I think she's going to have I don't know about a clear road to the top, but I think she's going to the top, and they're going to have her to beat. I respect It's Academic. I think he's been much better in his last couple starts, and his lines are much better than the 1 for 6 on the year that you see. But I think you know what, I could see him winning if somehow Dave Miller could figure out a trip from the second tier. And the other one I threw on my ticket here is Wesleyan Quest, who's the world record or the North American record holder with a 150 and 4 win, who set here. So he is the fastest ever trotter on a half-mile track, and I don't think you could blame him. First start with hobbles, ended up going a 53 and change half. I think that was just too fast. Here he's clearly going to go to the front, assuming that he stays on stride, and usually he does. And excuse me, she stays on stride. She's going to go to the front here, and if somehow she sits a good trip, maybe she'll relive some of that Northfield magic.
Okay, yeah, he went wire to wire. She went wire to wire last year. With Joe Bongiorno. Now we have Chris Lems picking up a catch drive, and he's one of the leading drivers, catch drivers in Northfield Park. I loved him with the first time hobbles angle last week. I know she was facing Bella Bellini in Atlanta and those girls, but she stopped pretty badly, and I don't know what to make of that. Here's the thing, though. You said you love, you like Herculesa. He's gonna go right to the front, and then you say Wesleyan Quest. She's gonna go right to the front. What? Something's got to give there. So this is a tough race. It really is, and there really are. There's no standouts here. It's Academic. I suppose deserves to be the favorite, but it's not an easy spot. I ended up going too deep. I did not use Herculesa. I used the 5 refined with Matt Kakaley. It's nice to see Matt Kakaley coming back from a recent spill. And I used It's Academic and the refined from another Ohio mainstay in Virgil Morgan Jr. Another mare, but mares facing boys doesn't bother me with trotters. I just think he's been very, very consistent, and I think she's peaking now. And it was a solid effort in the Miss Versatility, solid effort in an overnight race at Yonkers in the Open where she was second. 5-hole was a pretty good starting spot. She shouldn't be too far back. I don't see her really leaving, but she could be second over, third over here. And something about her I like. And I'm going to use It's Academic. I just hope that, he doesn't get an awful trip to the second tier. So I got those two horses, and we kind of disagree here, but that's what makes things interesting.
Yeah, just to be clear, I think Wesleyan Quest and Herculesa will both leave. I think Herculesa will probably get the top and set the pace with Wesleyan Quest in the pocket, and we'll see what happens with It's Academic. And we're going to move on to race number 9. It's the $100,000 Myron Charna President's Pace. And in this race, unlike some of the previous ones, we're going to see things, perfectly the same. I don't know if our vision as to why we got there is the same. We'll find out soon. But I went with, and so did Matt, Ocean's Rock and Heart of Chewbacca. And my thought here is you have 2 horses that are trained by the same stable. We know they're both leaving. They're going to control this race 100%. And I just don't see how Charlie May, who's going to be the favorite, gets into this race when he's going to have to come first over. And I just don't see either Dan Noble or Dave Miller on Heart of Chewbacca and Ocean Rock, you know, giving up the lead to Charlie May when, you know, the race is setting up perfect for their barn.
Well, as good as Charlie May is, we've also seen Charlie May burn money at Northfield in the past. Um, but yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I also went with the 5 and the 6. I know Ocean Rock hasn't been, hasn't come back that great this year, but he's also going second time Lasix now, and maybe that helps the cause. Heart of Chewbacca was a nice 3-year-old that chased uh, these top horses last year with some success. And I am in agreement with you. In terms of the rest of the field, besides those two and Charlie May, they seem to be like, nice, solid overnight type horses, but they have not proven it, against what you could consider stakes caliber talents in Charlie May, Ocean Rock, and maybe Heart of Chewbacca on the border there. You look inside One Last Laugh, you see his 5-to-1 morning line. This guy he's been with the Sam Shalaki barn for quite a while, and he was a condition claimer not too long ago, and he's just like the light bulb went on, and he became an open type pacer. But I don't see him in the same league as Ocean Rock, Charlie May, or Heart of Chewbacca. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. We're pitching Charlie May, and we're going with the 5 and the 6, hoping one of those two or both of them line up and get an easy enough trip on the front end, which as we know does not always happen in Northfield. There's no breathers in Northfield, but I'm hoping one of those two can get the job done.
And we're going to move on to race number 10. It's the feature on the card, $300,000 Carl Milstein Memorial for 3-year-olds. It's an invitational, and the leading horse in this race, at least as far as the morning line is concerned, and I'm certain as far as the betting public will be concerned at post time, is the 5, By the Missile.
Yeah, By the Missile, who, I mean, honestly, before the Adios elimination, the Adios final, how many people had even heard of By the Missile, or spoke about him in the same breath as other top 3-year-olds. I'll admit I knew very little about him, although he did have a race over the Northfield Park surface where he won at 1-9 odds, despite not looking the most comfortable out there on the track. Was actually charted with a break. But then we saw the Adios elimination where he opened a lot of eyes, and we saw the Adios final where he was just a super winner. Follow that up with an easy win at Scioto, and clearly the headline horse coming to this year's Milstein. And I mean, let's face it, he'll be 3 to 5 here, right? I mean, there's no way around that. He's going to be odds on. I have to believe, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly going to be the 3 to 5 favorite in here, and for my money, I'm trying to figure out a way where he's, to me on paper, he's the fastest horse in the race. I mean, so really the only way I see him losing this is if, one, he makes a mistake, and you pointed out that he did make a mistake the last time he was here, though maybe he's a slightly better horse now than he was then. Or the second way is the trip is just awful. I mean, and one of the only thing that really worries me is that he's not really a horse that's going to gun to the lead and go down the road kind of type, which means we're going to have to, hope that the trip is reasonable. Can he win first over? I don't know. He might be good enough to beat these first over. He really might. I'm not positive, but I look at the rest of the field, and the one horse I would have considered as a supplement to beat him, like a second horse, is Please Let Me Know, who's clearly has a ton of half-mile track experience, comes from a high percentage barn, is in good form. But I just don't see how Please Let Me Know gets the job done from post 7 unless something goes wrong with By the Missile.
Yeah, Please Let Me Know was the MGM Messenger winner, and he's been solid. And it's pretty much, I mean, it's kind of unfair. Travis Alexander brings 2 horses into this race, and they drew the 7 and the 8 hole. Obviously, Please Let Me Know is the has a stronger resume of the two, but I see Leighton Hanover having a hard time, getting into the race, starting for the 8 hole in a 9 horse field. But yeah, I mean, I did. I'm in agreement with you that had he drawn better, I think he'd have a better shot. I mean, listen, that's obvious. But at the same time, I did go 3 deep in here. I didn't key by the missile. I'm not, 100% sold. On the like you said, on the trip, I used 2 inside horses also. Inside of him, I used Nighthawk, who from the Brian Brown barn, who I keep hearing is supposed to be so good. Meanwhile, I keep waiting for him to win. Maybe tonight's the night with Dave Miller. And also J.K. Victory, who's been basically cleaning up at Hoosier Park, Hoosier Cup winner for Ron Burke. Get Ronnie Wren Jr. Is he the horse that blasts to the front in front of By the Missile? I think that's quite possible. We know how good Ronnie Wren is at generating speed off the gate, and maybe he's the sneaky horse here that works out the trip. So I end up going 3 deep, using Nighthawk, J.K. Victory, and By the Missile.
One thing I'll say about Nighthawk is, even though he left last time, he really hasn't been the fastest horse off the gate, and Dave Miller really hasn't, gotten him to fly off the gate. So maybe leaving from the rail, he doesn't get away, as close as some would expect. We're going to take a look at the pick 5 tickets here. Remember, this is a dollar pick 5, so it should create the interesting sequence of events here. And we're, as you can see up there, 4 and 8, and 1, 3, 8. I'm different than Matt in race number 6. We're the same in race 7, same in race 9. I went a little bit a different way in race 8, and we close it off with my single By the Missile, who I have full confidence will get the job done regardless of trip. And $36 play. We're going to take a look at Matt's ticket now, which is also $36.
Right. And I'll tell you, the dollar minimum changed the whole dynamic of putting together a pick 5 ticket. They also have dollar minimum on their pick 4s. In this era where people love to spread with the 20-cent or 50-cent plays, there's not as much spreading going on here. And I think, like I said early on, you have to have a key, in order to kind of price-wise make it like a pick 4 ticket. So I keyed Chulo, and I'll probably be holding my breath the whole race. We're in full agreement race 7, like we said. We're not really in agreement in race 8, in agreement race 9, and obviously I have no problem with you keying By the Missile if you get it that far, but I went 3 deep because I have my key in the first leg. So $36, and you know what? If things don't work out, you can get right back at it. The guaranteed pick 4 starting race 11.
Yeah, and they bumped up that guarantee to $15,000 on that one. There's a $15,000 high 5 in race number 13. Of course, this $20,000 guaranteed pick 5 that starts in race 6. We have all the PPs up on drf.com/harness. Enjoy Milstein night at Northfield Park.